Hey, what's going on, MGTOW community? This is Vladimir Sauce, aka the Hot Pepper Pill. I wanted to talk to you guys about the concept of brotherhood in the MGTOW community and bestowing the title of brother on your male friends, and how it's one of the highest regards, or in my mind, one of the best compliments you can give to somebody. And that's why a lot of people refer to MGTOW as the MGTOW Brotherhood, because it is a group of men that just, sacrifice their time, their efforts to produce videos and to try and direct or steer other guys to make good choices, good decisions in life, and to avoid pain and heartache and, other things that they may have gone through or have seen their family members go through. And, like your father or your mother, your aunt, your grandparents, they're your blood relatives. They're people you did not directly choose. But when I look to my male friends and people that have had my back, stood up for me when I was being, targeted by fucking pussy blue pillars, or getting in, arguments with just, people at the bar, they had my back, or if I needed help on a test, or, guys that I've been friends with since middle school, I call them brother, because they stand by me thick and thin, and they've earned that title, they have earned that respect, to a lifetime of having my back. And they have become family. They talk about the sisterhood a lot, and feminism, trying to unite all women under this ideal that is actually gaining legal ground, legal traction. Yes means yes, taking root in Sweden. But meanwhile, Muslim extremists, other people are, enacting Sharia law, and cases are being, passed and glossed over for men beating their wives as long as they're Muslim descent. They don't touch that shit with a 10-foot pole, in feminist Sweden. So, but the sisterhood, through all the different types of intersectional feminism, first, second, third wave, there's so many different types of feminism out there, to where that term sisterhood, women, for as gynocentric as our society is, men prop up women, other women comment on other women's beauty, on how they look, on, oh, you go girl, you go sister, this, that, the other. But the term sister is not earned. It's not something that is, is given because of respect or because of a lifetime of, proving that they're in your corner, that they have your best interest. I was reading online recently that, certain women are bashing each other for having a C-section birth versus a vaginal birth, and they're claiming, oh, well, you didn't really give birth then if it was a C-section. You're probably under anesthesia during that procedure. I'm not a doctor. I don't know exactly what goes on. This was basically, shaming men. All men do is put their dick inside a woman, and that's it. And nobody ever claims about, them not giving birth or contributing to the birth or this, that, the other. Bullshit. So many people talk about deadbeat dads. Oftentimes, due to that 23andMe test, people are taking that test with their saliva, and they're finding out through the results from the lab that their parents aren't who they say they are. In particular, their father, and their mom had been lying to them their whole life, and their dad is really Uncle Tom, or Uncle Jerry, or whatever, your dad's brother, because of some drunken one-night stand your mom had and lied about for you. So, but, the sisterhood is bullshit. They throw each other under the table for what is, our gynocentric society's trophy, or their, in their mind, of the biggest achievement that humanity can do, having children, carrying the baby, being a single mom. All men do is just put their dick inside, blah, blah, blah. But science has shown that, semen cannot be recreated. That is what is the life-giving force. It cannot be recreated in a lab. We're probably a decade, 2 decades away from the artificial womb, to where, a man wants to become a father, he can pay this money, donate semen to this machine. Next thing you know, it creates a child without having to burden a woman. And that's why this technology is coming out anyway, to alleviate women's pain, to alleviate their burden of childbirth. But it also opens up Pandora's box to realize that women are not as valuable as society propels them to be. It's just the fact that they're the incubator, the oven. What men do for babies or for childbirth is miraculous, and equally as much a contribution, if not more, because it takes two to tango. all these other things. The sperm is just as important, if not more so, than the incubation, than the egg, than these other things. Eggs can be recreated by just human skin cells, they're finding out from research. They can replicate and turn a human skin cell into an egg, but there's no way to replicate semen or sperm from a man. So, that's that. But just to complain, talking about how men's, limited contribution, it just shows that men are viewed as scum, they're viewed as second-class citizens. The fact that women carry this baby is supposed to be held up, as the highest regard that a human can do. Fuck walking on Mars, fuck sending, a intergalactic spaceship filled with, embryos that are, going to develop, and when the planet is reached, they will, be growing and learning and having school on the planet, and we're populating intergalactic far reaches of space. No, women having a baby, something that rats do. George Carlin did a great special where he was talking about the sanctity of life. And, all life is sacred. Life begins at the moment the dick is into the vagina. All these things. We talk about the sanctity of life. But we don't talk about, if all life is sacred, what about, fleas? What about mosquitoes? What about ticks? What about roaches and, bugs and grubs and all these other termites? Sanctity of life, except unless they provide, any bit of annoyance or a secondary characteristic that, could provide pain to a human or no beneficial harnessing of their power. I.e. horses, we're able to domesticate them, tame them, ride them as carriages. They're not, they're a beautiful, strong animal. Even though, a wasp or some of these other animals, or, spiders or snakes, they're essential to, the circle of life, to the continuation of nature as we know it, the cycle of death, rebirth, life beginning anew, kill or be killed. But they're viewed as annoyances. How about, bacteria, E. coli, viruses? They're not viewed as being sacred at all. And, at the least, like rats, or if you open a trash can and there's an orgy of rats going on inside, it's all disgusting and nasty. That's not the miracle of life. That's just, there's rats everywhere. It's the same thing. We're just basically, creatures with a neocortex, with somewhat of an ability to understand and shape our reality to survive. We have maybe the ability to build and to adapt more than other animals, which are limited. Like a dog cannot use their hands to turn a screwdriver. And, the whole point is just the limited contribution of women is propelled to the stratosphere due to gynocentrism and just men, blue pillars, pussy manginas. You go girl, the sisterhood, but it's all fake. It's all just biology. Rising above your biology, finding a person, a male that is trying to direct and help and guide and be like an elder, even if they're a younger age, sending out a beacon of hope for people to rely upon and to gravitate towards. And, whether in the analog space, whether it's your friends, mentors, male comrades, or whether it's online, other fellow MGTOW guys in the manosphere, people who call brother, it's a title that is earned. It is, in my opinion, you call somebody brother, that's the highest regard you can call them. They've earned that over the level of a blood relative, over the level of a family member that was just biology. Sisterhood, having babies, that's biology. But calling someone brother is rising above biology, joining a common bond and rising above human nature to try and reach the stars, to try and propel humans into the next level. And, to where just the shame, all the stuff talking about that men don't have this equal contribution or that they're scum, it just keeps us on level one, on the ground. And, there are differences between men and women. And instead of pushing them under the rug or, calling men all this shitty stuff, let's, say the positive things about each other. Because there's so much negativity. In the media, they talk about all the bad aspects of criminals, the worst accidents, horrible examples of human behavior. And, instead of that, MGTOW shines the light on, a lot of negative human behavior, but a lot of positive behavior in that men are trying to rally around this cause of awakening other men. They're not sharing these negative stories just to keep you bogged down and to keep you upset and entranced with and become numb to all the horror and death and destruction that, Mother Nature has to offer. The radio the other day was talking about how we just bend Mother Nature over a barrel and just fuck her. Mother Nature, talking about raping Mother Nature. Of course she's a woman, the personification. And, the fact is, nature just doesn't care. It does what it does. There may come points where we might be out of our habitable zone, and we may have to suffer for decades and decades of a slow spiral. Either the collapse will happen, or, people will be so fucking fat they won't be able to do anything. Apparently in 2020 there's going to be 80% of people in America will be obese. So, is that the humans that, is that the good of humanity? Or are we just, stuck and sliding back into primordial goo, not able to rise above our basic urges? Falling into the sisterhood versus the brotherhood. When we hold this sisterhood up to a high regard, we end up failing. We look to our brothers, we try to incentivize male creative spirit and fostering good bonds between males. It increases the cohesion of the society when we propel men and prop them up, rather than embracing things that just don't biologically make sense. The single mom has been reduced to, just putting in a couple things into a machine and pushing an on button. Back in the day, they used to have to go down to the river and beat their jeans dry on a rock. They didn't even have jeans, but their clothes, their dresses, their textiles, whatever, it was a lot harder a job. But men, like I was saying before, propel women to the stratosphere levels, and every invention, everything that's brought us to the civilization today, I believe, is brought on by men trying to make lives easier for women. Men could give a shit if they lived in a straw hut and had this, that, the other. But, somewhere along the way, women and their hypergamy, oh, honey, let's get a bigger hut, and that collectively happened for all men until, got bigger and bigger huts. Oh, well, how about we get a, brick walls instead of this straw, and, it's like the Three Little Pigs, straw and wood and then brick, and then the city came out, and, I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel it was collectively women's bitching that made men, have to get more resources easily for women, not necessarily for themselves. Men, at least speaking on myself, speaking on what I've heard from Sunrise Hoodie, the fact that minimalism and MGTOW go hand in hand, I'm happy with just having a small studio apartment, with the TV, with the gaming console, with the guitar. What more do I really need in life than to be able to just relax and enjoy, have, a roof, walls, and, a little air conditioning, electricity. I'm fucking living like a king. To where women, they won't be happy. Oh, they can't live in the moment. They're always looking for the future, for the bigger, better place, for the bigger, better man, for the next latest and greatest innovation in technology. And to prove that, I'm not just saying that, look at all these women that follow the curtails of men. 20 years before the first woman climbed Everest, a man did it. It just shows that women do not take these risks to innovate, to find new threats, or whatever. What would you call Everest? New triumphs to or perils to climb over and accomplish. Men do it first, and then women do it after, and get the glory of being the first woman that did it. Oh, whoop-de-doo. It's because they have a vagina. They get looked at in higher regard. It's like they're a separate species, but yet women, feminists, all this try to say that people are a blank slate. The fact that men play with Tonka trucks and fire trucks and play, cops and robbers and all these other games, while women want to play house and with Barbies and with, Littlest Pet Shop and My Favorite Little Unicorn. That's all just, social conditioning. That's all just the media propelling it down people's throat, which we know as MGTOW that it's biology. So anyway, guys, I hope this video went somewhere. There's a lot of rambling, but just the fact that women throw each other under the bus, the sisterhood is not real. It's just the fact that everybody elevates women. You know, men find women attractive. They want to save them from themselves. They want to save them from the pain of childbirth, from the pain of having to wash clothes and dishes, having to do this, that, the other. And so, you know, women look out for other women, but behind the scenes, behind the surface, they stab them in the back. You know, oh, she's getting fat. Oh, she's blah, 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 you know. They talk shit behind each other's back. Shit talking is a woman's game. You know, to where men, brothers, you know, sometimes we argue, sometimes we are blunt and we, you know, fight about stuff, but we're not catty about it. You know, we talk about what it is and we share information and we get over it. So, anyway, guys, this is Vladimir Sauce. I hope you enjoy what I had to say.